It's 9 years life. Don't get it.
So, how things, Michelle?
Good, thank you.
That's all good. So if there's no objections, then Councillor Ernie Goldsworthy becomes our chair again, and we now need to appoint a vice chair. Any nominations, please?
Who's vice chair now?
Mark.
Mark.
I nominate Mark.
I second.
Okay, if we have no objections, then Mark Previtt is our vice chair.
Yes. Thank you very much, Mark. Well done.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, well, first, before we start, I think we should welcome to Donna at our yeah, she's going to be our officer basically today. So congratulations, Donna. Thank you very much for. I did meet you in the last meeting, but anyway, thanks to see you here again today.
Thank you.
So we move on to item 3, which is apologies for absence.
Yes, Chair, we've received apologies from Sean Henderson, Cyfarthfa, and Reverend David O'Keefe.
Okay, thanks very much. Well, I'm pretty certain that we are quorate, so I think it's okay. So item 4, declaration of interest. If we have any members of interest, there don't seem to be any movement there. So we move on to item 5, which is the presentation from Lisa Shames, the Jewish Museum at Merthyr Synagogue. Are we available today? Well, Michelle, is there anything presentation today?
You're talking to me?
Yeah.
Or do you mean Debbie? We're waiting for a presentation from Lisa Shams, are we?
Yeah, we haven't seen her available.
He's on note, Michelle.
Oh,
Yes,
just for Michelle.
apologies though, Chair, I haven't got access to the agenda. I'm not able to access it at the moment, so I am a little bit lost on why, where we are, unfortunately.
Well, basically, number 5 is a presentation from Lisa Shames. The question is she here?
She's not. She's not here, no.
Oh well, that's the end of item 5 then.
Chair, could I just briefly say something sort of on this item? Would that be acceptable just for a moment? It's not a presentation by any manner of means, just a very brief comment, if that would be acceptable to you.
Yeah, carry on, Mark.
Okay, it was very nice in last week, sorry, it's only Tuesday today, isn't it? Last week, that Michael Mayle, who is the chairman of the Jewish Heritage body that has actually bought the synagogue, actually came into Merthyr and visited quite a number of us and engaged with the scheme and what they hope. So really, that's all I wanted to say. They are active. They've got a real sense of purpose. What I will do is, through Michelle, if I may, I will circulate their website address so that everybody else can get onto it. They're obviously going for a lottery bid to upgrade with the building. And I've got a lot of really, really good ideas about working with the community, engaging with the schools. Yeah, lots and lots of stuff there. So it was a really, really good meeting, and he spent 2 days in Merthyr Tydfil last week, meeting a lot of people, library, some schools, things like that. So yeah, it's looking really good. And as I say, I'll send through the website details to Michelle for publication with these minutes. That's all I would like to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Donna.
Hello, just on that note, if I may, Chair, I received a request from another advisor today who's done an MA on the Jewish community in Merthyr and is heavily involved, and she would like to engage with us at the next SACRE meeting, if possible in the spring, to give some updates on the work with schools.
Well, that's good news. Yeah, it's as far as the synagogue, my family used to live in Church Street, which of course right down the road from the synagogue. So we seem quite we seem to be quite happy to be around there and see it, you know. Yeah, it's good at that. So is there any other questions or any comments on that item? If not, we move on to item 6, which are the membership updates. The opposite, I'm sorry. I'm very sorry, but you do know I've had a stroke and it takes me time to get things going, but now and again it doesn't quite go. But as far as the where are we on? Membership updates, as far as I know, is that the composition in the agenda. So I'm not aware of any more than that. Donna.
Hi, hello, Chair. Just to say that we had received an inquiry from Kathy Riddock about a humanist representative. And I've had some guidance on this in terms of the constitution that Merthyr currently has. So this is something that we need to discuss, and obviously the local authority have the final say about membership, is my understanding, reading the wordings of the constitution. So there is an inquiry about a humanist member possibly being considered for joining SACRE moving forward. So we may well need to review the terms of constitution, and that's not only in light of this humanist membership request, but also in terms of the new curriculum. Obviously, Kirsty Williams in 2018 gave guidance on this, clear guidance on this, from the legal aspect as well with the human rights. So when we refer to religion, that includes belief, which would include non-belief. So this is something that perhaps we need to move quite swiftly on.
Yeah, would be the best moment to put it on at the next agenda, Donna?
Certainly, yes, I think, you know, in light of the new curriculum as well, to have a humanist representative it comes down to the LA decision, but obviously we now have non-religious philosophical convictions as part of the new framework.
Yeah, I know well, a couple of years ago, we had a similar a move last time. A couple of years ago, we had the same thing to do. We actually met the person and we interviewed them at the meeting, to be honest, which I'm quite happy to do that if people are happy with that.
Yes, Kathy actually did offer the attendance of the person in her email. So depending on obviously your decisions and your opinions, whether you would want that person to be present while you're discussing membership and constitution.
It's up to the members, basically, whatever you fancy, whatever you want to do. Michelle?
I was just wondering if we could have everyone's kind of input, just to kind of see what everyone thought. Like what all of us members individually thought. First of all, I know it, Donna said it comes down to the actual LA's final decision, but I was just wondering what everyone thought on the matter.
Well, it's up to members really. What if they have a thought themselves? personally, I got no problem in meeting the person at the meeting. It's up to the rest of the members. Anthony, what do you fancy?
Yeah, thanks, Councillor. It was just clarity, first of all, on Donna's point with regards to the LA making the decision. Is it something for the committee to decide upon? And if we can't decide, the LA would make the decision, or would the committee make a recommendation to change the constitution and then the LA would just rubber stamp it? Really, I was wondering how that process would work in actuality, and I'll check with Sue in terms of her views with respect to the actual question itself. It seems to fit in with the new curriculum, the new definition in terms of religious education, etc. So it would seem to be a rational approach then to have a humanist representative in line with that. But I was wondering, just in terms of the actual making of the decision, does it go direct to the LA now to decide, or does the committee make its views clear initially and then the LA decides? How does that work?
In terms of, sorry, there's other people with their hands up first. Sorry.
Yeah, well, yeah, there's two people have already spoken. So Donna, up to you, really.
Okay, so the guidance that I've had is that when appointing members to SACRE, because of the Constitution of Merthyr, it is up to the local authority. SACREs can only appoint or decline co-opted members, but I think actually looking at Merthyr's, that LA's actually has the ultimate say on co-opted members as well, which isn't necessarily the same on other constitutions. You can give advice on who you think should or should not be a member, but it is, however, the decision of the local authority as to whether a person is accepted as a full member of SACRE.
So if this or that, Donna,
yeah, David, yeah.
in regards to the question, and then we could potentially then, Councillor, take that back then to the LA for a formal decision, maybe.
Yeah, David, you wish to say a word?
Yeah. Well, I'll be honest with you, when I joined SACRE, I didn't think there'd be humanists on the committee. Obviously, if you turn them down, you'll be opening yourself up for them to go legally against the authority, because I think they're doing this right throughout the country. They are asking for membership of all SACREs, so that if anybody turns them down, then they will come back with litigation. So I think that if we turn them down, we'd be opening the way forward for the LA to be challenged in court, and we would probably be found negligent, that we should have appointed them. But if you ask my personal view, I wouldn't like to have a humanist on this committee. I joined this because I thought it was religious education. So but I go along with what the LA will decide. But I personally would have to resign then, because I wouldn't like to be on this committee with humanists. Thank you.
Ian, it's up to you.
Thank you, Chair. You were talking about the lady coming along to be interviewed, but I don't think we should bring it down to personalities. I think we should make a decision on principle as to whether the faith communities should be represented by a humanist, as they are with other denominations. And in fact, I think we should try and decide that and make a recommendation to the local authority. But I'd be interested to know, for example, what Mark might think of this as a minister.
Okay, Ian.
Do you want me to speak to it, Ernie?
Well, yeah, you carry on, Mark. Whatever you want to say.
I think that, and sorry, Ian, I called you David earlier on. It was the screen. I swear it's slightly small.
here,
I do
David, it's fine.
apologise for that. Basically, and I think that Donna, I think you were quite clear when we started this, and this whole committee has heard me speak on this very, very clearly indeed. And one of the reasons that I believe that Kirsty did make the statement she did is because of what came out of this committee, which is that actually humanism is not a form of belief. But as you say, it was said that it was for non-belief and it fits in with the current curriculum. And I would agree with David there that if by any chance we did happen to say, no, that's not appropriate, we would find, well, I don't think the LA would back us anyway. I think they would say that the Constitution allows for a humanist to become a member of this committee. And I think I would want to say, well, yeah, fine. If we have the right person, then actually, surely they can be very engaging and challenging and hopefully thought-provoking in the process. So I personally wouldn't resign because I think I'll find it quite interesting to see what somebody who followed humanism would actually bring to the committee. I hope I'm making sense there. I'm saying, well, what is it that they bring? In a way, you sort of know what I bring, even though I'm quite a broad church, and I do mean me personally now, not particularly the church in Wales. Whereas this is a delightfully unknown quantity, and you know, yeah. I think that we would open ourselves up to now a very high level of criticism and non-inclusivity and all of those other words that are very politically correct at this moment in time. So my statement, and you know, it's not my advice, but as vice chair of this, I would say that we don't need to have it as a separate item, Ernie, on an agenda. I believe that we just ask that however it is done, and that's something I don't know as I'm sat here, that actually we just include a humanist as part of our membership. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Mark. Well, to be honest, looking at the meeting at the moment, it seems to me a consensus at the moment that we accept. So if anyone would move that, I would be happy to do that. Would anyone move that?
I so move then, Ernie. I so move.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you very much. Right, well, the first question, the first meeting, well, not meeting, if we could now vote for those people in Mark's motion, I would vote now, please.
How do I vote?
Just,
Can you see,
just
do you have a
yes.
little box on the bottom of your screen? And towards the end of it, you've got a red telephone with 3 and you've got
Yes.
a hand up. If you just push your hand up, your hand will go up. You will then need to cancel it again. Oh, she's gone altogether. I hope I didn't give false information.
Well done, Mark. That's what that went.
Beam me up,
Direct
Scotty.
meeting
I
in
think
one
At the moment, there's
she's pressed the leave button, the red leave button.
Oh,
there are, yeah, the way you work, the way it works now, you get 1 vote for councillors, 1 vote for faith members, and 1 vote for the local authority officers. So there are at least 2 councillors are now in favour, because I'm in favour as well. The young lady from Toynrodin has voted as well.
I'm sorry.
So is there any,
Is there a little red circle?
so is there anyone opposing that agenda?
Oh, that's fine.
You're looking for
anyone
that
against?
symbol. That symbol.
Oh, a hand.
Yes.
Yay, I got it. Sorry, I'm not very computer savvy.
So put it another way, are anyone against that motion? Well, that then carries.
I was just gonna kind of like stay on the fence on this one. I'm a bit unsure how I feel about it, so I was just
Okay.
gonna abstain from voting.
Okay. Well, that the way, as far as I can see at the moment, then it has been approved. So yeah, Anthony.
Yeah, thank you, councillor. Just for clarity then, so that's approved as a recommendation that the constitution be changed, and then the LA will then sort of take a view on that and report back to the next meeting.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah, thank you very much.
Fab.
Right. Okay, well, that item is finished. We move on to item 7, which are minutes of previous meetings of 1st of July. I will take them through. I'll take them by one page. Page 5, page 6, page 7, and 8. Although I'm afraid some people haven't seen them anyway. So I will ask this, are there any questions on the SACRE meeting? Or any comments? And in that case, do we agree the meeting? Is everybody happy?
Yeah.
Anyone against?
Not against Jenny, but sorry, I'm just going to
I
have
do
to
understand,
record
yeah. I know there's a
Okay,
problem, yeah.
I'll say I apologise for that, but I will have to record an abstention on that, please. Thank you.
Okay, yeah. Any other? Any more information on that item? So we'll move on to, we agree there was minutes, and we move on to item, where's it gone?
8, I think it is.
Item 8, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the draft SACRE annual report, which is page 9 to 34. I have it here before me. So if Donna has any information, or do you wish to say anything, Donna?
I just wanted to point out that the report might look slightly different from previous years in the sense that obviously Angela has written the report, but no longer will you find the information, the data from various schools. And obviously Estin reports are all missing as well due to COVID. So it's a slightly different looking report than you may have seen in previous years. And just to note that there are just 2 typos for the Holocaust Memorial Day. It should read 2021 in 2 cases. I'll highlight that with the clerk, which pages.
Okay, thanks very much. Well, first of all, are there any questions on item 8? Yeah. Any comments on item 8? So there's nothing information there. So basically, it's up to do we agree the draft report? Basically, are there any opposing to it, or are we happy? There seems to be no problem myself. Yes, there's something wrong with my bits and bobs. Anyways, it's there for item 8. If there's no further information or comments and questions, we have the do we agree the draft report? Are everybody happy? No one says they're not against. So that's sorted that out. So that move on to number 9, question 9 of 35 and 36. The WJEC GCSE Religious Studies adaptations for assessment summer 2022. We have the report there before us. You have any comments there, Donna? Or
It was just to raise a couple of issues that, and certainly teaching colleagues as well, please join in terms of possibly some views and comments on this. It's just to make you aware of the final adaptations that have been released. But since we've written the agenda, I note there may be some contingencies also for non-examinations that schools are being made aware of currently. So that has happened since the agenda was put together. But for the GCSE exam, there has been some reduction in content, but actually there's some possible difficulties that some pupils may face, even though there's removal of some of the material for assessment, in the fact that some schools enter GCSE pupils in year 10 for unit 1 and year 11 for unit 2. So whereas before you would have 4 questions on both papers in separate years, with the new issue of not being able to submit due to COVID last year, and there was no centre determined grades for year 10. So all pupils in year 11 taking full course GCSE will have to sit 2 papers in the summer this year, meaning that they sit 6 questions out of 8 instead of the 4 that they would have done on 1 paper. So it just seems that perhaps centre determined grades might have been useful last year for year 10 if a centre usually entered year 10 pupils. It just means in terms of well-being of pupils and pressure on staff, particularly when they're not used to sitting examinations, they won't have had the year 10 external practice, where sometimes they're entered for RE for English, maths and some science units. So there's just some issues there. Timing wise, they have increased the time. It's usually a minute a mark. It's usually 120 minutes over the paper, and it works out at a minute a mark. But now with 3 questions out of 4, so you'd imagine 90 minutes, but they've actually given 95 minutes, which I think teachers may see as a positive, that actually they've got 5 minutes to digest the rubric and process the questions, because previously they weren't able to. They had all these questions to answer without any processing time. The downside is the rubric's changing. So their demands of the question of whether they answer from 1 faith, 2 faiths, whether they include humanism or not in their answer on particular questions, those guidelines are changing. So teachers are going to need to re-educate on examination skills and technique for the rubrics of the paper. So while on paper, you know, it's great that there has been some adaptation in light of lost time and learning time. But I know, for example, the first half term at a school, they had 300 pupils that were not in a week and 50 members of staff down. So when we're talking about continual loss of classroom time as well, so examination skills technique and the curriculum to get through is quite demanding for a teacher as well as the pupils. So I just wanted to raise and highlight possibly some concerns moving forward.
okay, thank you very much, Donna. Thank you for the okay, we now have any comments or questions on that report? Okay, yeah, Anthony.
Yeah, thank you, Councillor. Just a question for Donna, really, with regards to the point she's just raised with respect to the rubrics changing with the RE-GCSE for year 11, and whether or not there's additional support then that's being provided to teachers of RE so that they are as familiar as they can be as quickly as possible with regards to those changes, and the best ways in which they need to share that information with their students. Is there any sort of support provided by the consortia or elsewhere so that can be assimilated more quickly?
If I may reply, Chair.
Yeah, you carry on, Donna.
Thank you. So firstly, WJC do have their regular CPD that is up and coming end of November, beginning December for GCSE and A-level. So I'm sure that will be on the agenda in terms of making sure that teachers are aware of that to pass that on to their departments and their pupils. CSE as well, we have the RS network meeting that's hopefully going to take place on the 6th of December. And this is on our agenda to raise awareness, but also to share good practice and discuss tips and techniques, because it is important for our learners.
Thank you very much. David.
I recognise Donna's concern about the lack of schooling for some of the some of the pupils who missed a lot of school, because I know year 7 and 8 missed a lot of school at the beginning of the year. If we feel that these children are being disadvantaged in doing exams, if they miss so much time, you know, if they haven't had enough teaching time, are we putting pressure on young people to do exams when they haven't had that teaching time? As a SACRE committee, I think it'd be prudent of us to write to the authority, to the teaching authority, and say, look, we are concerned that there are young people who have missed a lot of schooling at the beginning of the term and still missing schooling, I dare add. And because of a lot of the teachers off, they are having supply teachers in who haven't got a continuity of teaching. So I would like to put forward that as a SACRE, we send a note to the teaching authority to say, look, we are very concerned that we are putting teachers and young people under pressure to do exams when they haven't had the proper teaching and the right level of teaching. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Yeah, so everybody happy with that? Yeah, I believe that's agreed. Thank you very much, David. We will do that. So are there any other member wishes to have a comment or a question? If not, but basically, can we agree the report? No one is saying no. So we move on to item 9B, which is the WJEC GCE Religious Studies Adaptations for Assessment Summer 2022. Okay, Donna, any information on that item?
Okay, just to give you some of the main guidance again, at AS level, they have 2 examination papers, and it's split. The first paper, Unit 1, is their study of religion. So whether it's Christianity, Catholic Christianity, Judaism, Hinduism, etc. And then Unit 2, they combine religion and ethics and also philosophy, introductory to philosophy and religion. On the Unit 1 paper, the religious paper, they haven't made any adaptations. It's still a complete full syllabus. Bearing in mind, it's broken down into 4 themes, and there's 3 sub-themes for each. There's 12 sections that need to be taught. Unit 2, then, they have made amendments to some of the religion and ethics, taking out theme 2C, 3C and 4C, but completely leaving, with no adaptations, the introduction to philosophy and religion. So compared to GCSE, where you're taking a quarter away, they're certainly not the same at AS level. There's less of an adaptation and reduction for the pupils. And then following on to A level, year 13, this is broken down into 3 units, all equal weighting, and they're actually worth more combined. They're worth 60% of the overall A level. So Unit 3 is the study of religion. And again, there is no change to that unit at all. They still need to cover all 4 themes and the 12 sub-themes. Unit 4, the study of religion and ethics, they have taken out sub-theme 1A, 1B and 1C, so there is a reduction there, including the evaluation issues. And then Unit 5, they have taken away theme 4A, 4B, 4C and the evaluations. So there seems to be more of a significant reduction at A2 for ethics and philosophy, but the religion is still a complete paper. So there just doesn't seem to be consistency across the A-level paper. But there is a concern as well for teachers that teach A-level, A2 in particular. Part of the level descriptions, the band descriptors, requires synoptic links. Synopticity, so looking across comparing and contrasting, not only within, say, philosophy or within ethics or within the religion, but between them as well. So some teachers have just brought to my attention that there is a possible concern when it comes to marking, that the pupils won't have as much variety of links and synopticity that they can draw upon that they may have done in previous years, and whether this is going to be taken into account when exams are being marked, because you need the synoptic links for the top grades for the A and A star.
Okay.
So that's what I wanted to raise.
Yes. Thank you, Donna. Do we have any questions or comments on the report? We have no response, so basically, do we agree the report? Or Michelle?
Yeah, thank you. I was just thinking everything that like Donna is helping us with here, nothing seems like really positive. Everything seems to be like a detriment to the children. And I'm assuming that obviously this is going to be the same for all children across Wales and all the local authorities, but I don't know, it just doesn't sit really well with me at the moment. It seems really concerning, and I don't know. How does everybody else feel?
Okay. Are there any?
Yeah, I think I put my point of view over in the last, and it's a similar thing, like I said in the last point I made. So.
Okay, thank you, Dave. Donna.
Yes, I just wanted to say that SACRE, the executive met the committee, and they are on the case, and they have put together a letter that they're forwarding to WJC and Qualification Wales to express their concerns. They've also highlighted the fact there may not be parity across with England in terms of how they're approaching exams, and that Welsh students, particularly A-level, who may be going and applying for and entering the English universities, may be at a disadvantage in terms of their grade compared to the setup and the makeup of exams across in England. So this is also on the SACRE agenda, and I know that they were penning a paper from the executive committee along those lines.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other comments or questions on the report?
Are we just able to kind of like say that we're in full support of the what Donna was just saying, and that those concerns are welcomed by this committee?
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, if there are no further questions or comments, do we agree the report? Everybody happy? No one's against? So we move on to item. We'll get there. Item 10A.
Are we actually agreeing to that report? I'm a bit confused now, because I don't know. Are we agreeing to that, or are we asking for clarity from what do you think, Donna? Should we be agreeing to that at this stage?
It's a feedback, if you like, on what's happening, and then obviously a chance for you to express your comments and responses to the information that's applied. It's not a sort of a consultation report.
So you would recommend that we do agree to that at this point, is it?
Yes, in terms of the general consensus appears to be of similar feedback that should be passed on.
Okay, lovely, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. So we move on to item 10A, which is the new members handbook, which is on page 41 to 54. That is there before us. Do you have any comments, Donna?
On that sense, it's just to highlight that a handbook is there. It is has been written on the SACRE website and published with a view to supporting new members, but actually it's really useful just to dip in and out of if you have any questions. So just to make you aware that it is now live on their newly published website.
Okay, thanks. Any member have any comments or questions on that item? There's no response on that item, so basically we received the handbook. I believe that's the case. Everybody happy with that? So we'll move on to item 10B or 10.2, which is the minutes of the SACRE meeting on the 16th of June 2021. I have them before me. I'll find it. Yeah, I have the meetings before me. It is pages 55 to 78. That is in Welsh and in English, so it's quite a bit of information there. So basically, are there any comments or questions on those minutes? So there are no comments or questions on that. So basically, can we receive the minutes? Are we all happy? Yeah. Let's see. Any further comments on that? If not, we move on to item 10C, which is the right to withdraw, which is pages 79 to 90. I have a minute here. Would you like to have any comments on this, Donna?
Yes, thank you, Chair. The right to withdraw, we are informing local schools. We're having quite a few inquiries, not necessarily from this SACRE, but certainly in the regions, about the right to withdraw, because schools, some have already been implemented or trialling the new curriculum, but it's actually the legal stance is still the current stance that parents still have the legal right to withdraw from both RE and collective worship. So we've had a couple of queries about that, and just to sort of give you the heads up, if you like, that moving forward with the new curriculum for Wales, that in 2022, all primary and possibly some secondary with year 7, although some are delaying till 2023, the change will be that the parental right to withdraw from RVE will be removed. It will still be there for the right to withdraw from collective worship, but this is a significant change, and Wales will be the only ones in the UK that have this change. So it's to make you aware. We're currently making schools aware through CSE and dealing with queries that we have from individual schools in connection with these changes and amendments. But it's something sort of on the radar for the future, if you like.
Okay, thank you very much, Donna. Are there any questions or comments on this item for the members? no further comments. And are we happy to receive the guidance? It is there before us. Everybody happy? So that moves on to item 11, which is the Holocaust Memorial Day, 27th of January 22. Do we have any comments on that, Donna?
Just to make you aware, obviously each individual education authority and the authorities themselves have their own events going on, but certainly the links that I've included there have been sent out to schools in terms of sort of supporting and devising and giving ideas to the particular theme this year, but also ideas for assemblies, for lots of different resources on there that they can access. It's actually a really good website with lots of information. So it's just drawing your attention to it, and obviously schools will have their attention drawn to it as well.
Oh, thank you very much. Any member wish to have a comment on question on it? Yeah, there's no response to that item. So thank you all very much. We received that information. So that moves on to item 12. And we have 3 items to agree meetings. Now, I have my diary before me. So if you want to give some information for meetings, it's entirely up to the people. Yeah, I do have the diary for next year. If you give me 1 second, I will bring it in now. Sorry, folks. Yeah, I got the diary in front of me here. You have any ideas, Donna, when they're likely to have these meetings?
It sort of links back to 9.3 on the guidance on design and delivery of mandatory RVE. Do you know the consultation that you were involved in and fed back on in the summer term? The guidance is at its final stage and about, hopefully, to be published around December time.
Right.
So we will need to convene agreed syllabus conferences as soon as possible.
Okay.
That spring term, as long as the guidance has been published in December, as hopefully it will be, because we have teachers that are surrounded by humanities, other teachers who can already progress and plan, but some teachers are obviously left in the dark in the sense of an agreed syllabus for RVE, and it's quite a tricky position for RVE teachers to be in. So I know that they would receive with open arms the agreed syllabus as soon as is possible, as long as obviously it's a constructive agreed syllabus to support and help them. So I think we definitely need an agreed syllabus conference, and it has to be separate from the SACRE. They can occur on the same day, you know, but they have to officially open and close and have different agendas.
Okay.
So end of January, beginning of February for the agreed syllabus, and possibly SACRE at the same time after, to run consecutively.
Okay. Well, yeah, that's no problem for January. Normally we have on Tuesdays. If everybody happy with Tuesdays, we can carry on. If you want towards the end of January, you're looking at. Let me have a quick look at them.
Could I just leap in and say the 1st of February, actually, because the end of January on a Tuesday is the 25th. I certainly wouldn't be able to make the 25th, but Donna, is that too late or is that okay? And I'm looking to teaching staff as well to say we hate you.
So 1st of February would seem possible. Everybody happy? Nothing to, no response to stop it. So are we happy with the 1st of February? Everybody okay?
And could we take up Donna's suggestion there that we actually have the syllabus conference meeting and the SACRE meeting on the same day, because it is much easier than trying to organise two meetings. Would that be okay, Chair?
Yeah, I'm fine with that. That's a good idea. So the spring meeting and the syllabus conference will be on the 1st of February. Okay, Donna?
Just to say, in terms of the agreed syllabus conference, that I'm certainly putting out a letter. We would like, obviously, as much teacher representation as possible, because the agreed syllabus will affect RVE in the classroom, and teachers should share their voice and expertise and opinions on the new agreed syllabus. So just if, obviously, we have a couple of vacancies, possibly whether letters could be written as well to invite through the membership to join SACRE, to have more of a teacher voice as well within the committee.
Okay, that's fine. So that'll be the 1st of February. Normally we start the meeting at 3:45. Is everybody happy with that? Starting off with the syllabus and then moving on to the SACRE meeting. Everybody happy with that?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll put that in my diary to get it right. Right, that's that sorted. So basically, you're looking for the summer term. Do you need to make a meeting? Do you make it a date now, or leave it until February? It's up to the members what they wish to decide. What do you think, Donna?
We may need more than one agreed syllabus conference meeting, depending on the members' feedback in terms of establishing an agreed syllabus and recommendations to put forward to the LA. So it might be worth waiting and arranging the date on them, you know, for...
That's fine. That's no problem with that. I'm happy with that. So that's the 3 items are now, we've now done that. So that moves on to item 13, any other business deemed urgent to the chair. I have none. So I'm very happy that we've got away with it very nicely, I think. Anyway, thank you all very much for attending, and I look forward to seeing you in February. All the best. Thank you very much, Donna.
Thank you, Chair.
Thanks
all.
Bye, everybody.
everyone.